Man, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Season 2, episode 206, with your main man on one of the hottest sports shows to hit the airways. This is your guy, the one and only Coach Tony, and this is the Pull Up Podcast Show. Tonight, we've got another guest, and week after week, we continue to give you guys some just small pieces of nuggets just to help you out on this Monday evening. And tonight, we're going to pick with your brain. We're going to mess with your mental mindset tonight. But before we do that, make sure we do a few things here. One, make sure you like the show. Two, make sure you subscribe to the show. And more importantly, tell your friends and family about it. So before we get the guest out tonight, Val, you know what to do. Drop it.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. So, I said bounce the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. So, it's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast.
Man, welcome back. Welcome back. Season 2, which is incredible. Thank each and every one of you guys for following me. Thank you guys for sharing the show. And more importantly, thank you for liking the show. This is Coach Tony, and this is the Pull Up Podcast Show. You know, tonight's guest, we always talk about what it is to be a professional athlete, how difficult it is as a young student athlete to make it up through the ranks, the hard work every night, night in and night out. And then also being a student athlete, having to balance your books, making sure you study, make sure you pass your courses. You have to do all that. And a lot of people don't understand how difficult that is. Well, my guest tonight, he understands that because he works with coaches. He works with athletes. He also works with the average everyday business person, talking about their mental mindset. And more importantly, the performance of the athlete at the next level. You know, he and I go way back here to our HBCU days here at Fisk University. We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But let's bring my guy out to the show, one and only Coach Bobby Jackson.
Hey, how you doing, Doc? It's good
Coach,
to see you.
what's up, baby? How you doing tonight, man?
You're doing great, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Man, I appreciate you just taking a second, man, out of your busy schedule, man, to check in with us, man, on the Pull Up Podcast Show, man. We talk so much about, how somebody made it. We talk about, what they're doing and how much money they got. But a lot of times, those guys that we see, Bobby, that never, ever make it to that level because maybe they couldn't focus. Maybe there was inner city kid that had a lot of things going on around him. Sometimes you see some of these guys that make it and, and just they can't stick because it's too much for them, as they say. They look for the glory, but when they get there, it's a little bit too much for them. Just give a little people the background, man. Where you from? Where you grew up at?
Well, I'm originally here from Nashville, but I grew up and grit my teeth in Oklahoma. That's where I started my football path in Oklahoma, and got recruited out of Oklahoma to Northwestern University up in Chicago to play football. So, that's my.
We on the coldest side of the city too, up in
it was straight shot. It was a straight shot, coming from Oklahoma, back in the late 80s, early 90s, and it was tough, man. It was tough. It was a tough transition, culturally, but it grew me up a lot, and I really appreciate that experience.
Oh yeah, in high school, back in your high school days, what position did you play in? Like, how did football get introduced to you? Was it dad that was playing, or was it just kind of like, back in the day, Bobby, how mom and them was, get out the house, don't come back in.
Throw the football up in the air, see who could tackle you. And then
we usually call it catching man.
Yeah. We call it a whole lot of things we can't say these days. but yeah. So that's how it all started, man. I wasn't a good basketball player. And it's so funny because my nickname, because people, especially all the players I coach now, they couldn't believe it. But my nickname as a kid was Bo Sorry. My nickname was Bo, but everybody put Sorry because I couldn't play basketball. So I was always the last getting picked. It's like, who wants Bo Sorry on their team? I was always the last.
You're like, hey, he come out here and grab some boys and set a couple picks for him.
the biggest dude out there could shoot late, could dribble, couldn't do nothing, right? So once everybody got tired of playing basketball. One day that said, hey, let's get out here and play, tackle the man. That's one of the names of it. Right. So they just threw the ball up in the air, and I caught it, and that was it. Nobody could tackle. That was it. Up and down, up and
run
down.
Around like Bo Jackson, kind of Bobby Jackson.
Yeah. Run him out. So I love it. So that position gave me the self-esteem that I needed. You know what I'm saying? That I mattered. That I could do something. In my life that I could fit in. That's a big deal. Especially at a young. That was in my elementary days. Back in the second grade, that I could even fit in. So after that, on the playgrounds, every time I'm bringing the football out. Let's play football. So that's
you
how
walk around with a football in your hand like we got a basketball.
Yeah, ready to go. You know what I'm saying? Because nobody could tackle, nobody move. So that was a big deal. So when I first organized stint of playing ball, my father was in the Air Force, and we got stationed in Okinawa, Japan. So that was my first organized time playing, and I played running back, biggest guy out there. But I was like, this is what I do. It's funny because when you're the biggest guy, they want to put you on the line and all that. I was like, no, this is what I do.
Right.
Because that's what really.
You like basketball, the tallest guy. They always want to put him under the basket.
They
don't know and play like a little bit like Durant. Come on, man.
Exactly. No, this is what I do, because that's what built my self-esteem, and that was a big part of my identity, was running the football. So it was hard for me to actually move from that, and I played it from there all the way to college.
Man, that is all. Now, did you have any brothers and sisters that was at home athletes as well, or was just kind of you?
I'm the only child. Okay. so just think being called Bo Sorry, that was a long walk home. But nobody put their arms around you.
Ain't nobody gonna pat you on the back. None of that.
Yeah, because that was when I was in Nashville. All my cousins, they nicked me the name that said, there's Bo Sorry. Bo Sorry come over here, man. He can't play with me. But when I left and went to Oklahoma, and then became an All-American and became one of the top players in the country, and then playing football, they couldn't believe it. They was like, Bo Sorry? That's him? They couldn't, because I had been gone for so long, once I left, in the third grade and didn't come back till later. So they just they couldn't believe it. But,
that's funny. How was the eye-opening in Okinawa, and you sitting over there in Japan? That had to be an experience.
Yeah, he was first time playing. It was on an Air Force base, so a lot of the parents there with their kids. It was very organized. We played against different bases, Marine bases. We was on Air Force base, so we played Marine bases and stuff like that. So it really, I had a good time. My first time out, I did extremely well. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So we played the old wing tee and just hike me the ball and I just go. So I really enjoyed that experience for a couple of years. And yeah. So it was big. It was big time for me. Some great memories. I'm gonna have to show you that picture.
In Chicago, we got to play in the streets, man, because ain't too much grass, So we tackle each other on the cars, man. Catch, man. We may get an opportunity to go out to the grammar school or something and get in the front yard before the police or something run us off the grass. But other than that's why everybody played in the street. We had pothole to pothole.
Right. So and you know what? That's what really gave you your toughness, getting tackled on that street and hitting that curb on that shoulder, or running to that car you didn't see trying to catch that ball. That's real football. I think a lot of kids would really grow up and understand if they really want to play, if they play the way we played back in the day.
There you go. That part right there. I always tell this guy. And speaking of growing up, we got a couple guys here, man. Kevin Springer, my guy, always checking in. Wise at 5. He's a New York guy, always listening to us on Monday nights. And I got an opportunity to hang out this weekend, man. For some of you guys that don't know, we had a terrible situation that happened here in Nashville this particular weekend. My boy Terrence came over, and he had a chance to kick it with me this weekend. And we were talking a little bit about LeBron and Bronny. I'm going to ask you a question about that. But for those that don't know, we had a terrible shooting here this weekend at Tennessee State University in the vicinity of it. and it's kind of everything gets lumped with the university because it was homecoming weekend and all that, and I hate it and all that. So, my prayers go out to those people that was hurt, and just continue to bless the people here in Nashville as we just kind of recover.
Yeah, and the whole community out there that's really trying to stay, keep the hope and keep the faith alive for that community. That's changed a lot. We know Nashville is the hottest city in the country right now, and gentrification is real, and it's a big part of the community of where our HBCUs stretch, that at Jefferson Street stretch. So a lot of stuff is going on there. So to have the people, that community, be hurt like that because they really trying to hold on to some true traditions, it really impacted me, because it's that strip between Tennessee State and Fisk, and history in there with us doing great and awesome things for this city. So to see that happen, man, it really touched me a lot.
Oh, yeah. And for those that don't know, me and Coach Bobby go back to the HBCU side of the house, on the coaching side of the house at Fisk University, a little over about a decade and a half now, about 12, 15 years right now. We getting the university pulled together, and it was just great because those universities, as they call it, the battle of the mile and a half. It's about a good mile to a mile and a quarter between Fisk University and Tennessee State on Jefferson Street. And back in the day, it was a thriving area, even though that Fisk and TSU play in two different divisions of athletics. They always tend to schedule a game against one another, man, and that's great that they continue to do that.
Yeah, it's still a big family. Fisk, Meharry, and Tennessee State, still a huge family. It's special. That's a special area.
Oh yeah, big time. My guy was asking a question though. They talking this stuff about LeBron James and Bronny. I'm glad to see this happen the way it did, even though I don't know if I'm in my mental mindset thinking that Bronny should have made it to the league right now, because I thought coming off that heart situation, he had his own mental illness, dealing with some things he had to overcome. I think Dad may have pushed him a little bit. But the question on the table, Coach, is when does the Lakers get this out of the way? Well, I got my answer I'm going to give you, but when do the Lakers put both of these guys on the floor, and when do they get it out the way? And just what's your thoughts on that?
Well, if they do it, they need to do it before Christmas, because that's when basically, what I'm saying, you see what you got and your season starts. You know what I'm saying? Right. When you start getting serious. So before Christmas, it'd be a great Christmas present for the James family, just to see that happening. To see that, anytime before beginning of the season and then. And I think that'll be, something great, because, people will still tune. That'll be one thing where they can really catch some viewers during December. You know what I'm saying? Right. So that's a good move, PR move for that time where people not really paying too much to NBA until, after, for Christmas time and after. So I think by then it'll be a good time.
Yeah. And I'm gonna push it even earlier than that, because I'm one of the let's get it up out the way. I think you mentioned it right on the key, being PR move, and I think that with a PR move, if I'm sitting there and I'm Rob Pelinka, I'm saying to myself, okay, let me talk to Magic, talk to these guys behind, whoever, D'Angelo Russell, I'm going to say, listen, I know you my man. I know you my starting PG or whoever they brought in to be the PG. But game one, first night, October 23rd, opening night, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to sound like Stephen A. Smith. I'm going to go ahead and put him on the court right now and get it out the way, because I think you tipped on a couple of things. I don't need to wait till December to do it. I'm going to do it game one, because here it is. You have everybody who is piped up and ready for the NBA, those NBA junkies. They ready for the season to start. For some of those who may or may not, Bobby, watch the NBA until after the All-Star break when things get heated up. This is going to bring a couple of new fans and a couple of new people to the game, because they're looking to see, are these two guys going to play, one, and two, if LeBron is even ready for the league. So I say get it out the way. Game one is going to be TV out, 9:30 game. It's LA, so it's a 9:30 game. And worldwide, everyone's watching that game. I think it'll be a huge smash. Huge.
Yeah, I think it would be. I would say give it a few weeks because I want Bronny to get that fear of the lights out of the way first. Because I don't want to get him on. You get what I'm saying? Get the fear of the light, get in the routine of traveling and game week of this is not preseason, this is not summer ball, this is not preseason, this is a season. So get a couple of weeks out before you enter in, so you be like, okay, I'm actually contributing, and I'm not just a sideshow. You get what I'm saying? Because I want him to look good. I want him to look, I mean, halfway decent. You know what I'm saying? Make a steal or something. You know,
right? Make a get it done. Right. Give me something. Man,
give me something.
I tell you what, give me something. We're gonna be right back. We're gonna pay a bill. We just come to the end of the first quarter here with my guy, Coach Bobby Jackson. We're gonna jump into a little bit of this mental illness and sports performance. We'll be right back. Val's pay a couple of bills. We'll be right back on the Pull Up Podcast Show.
Are you a small business owner looking to grow? Introducing the KeySpot mobile app. I'm Cynthia McAllister, owner of the IT company Quality SAP. Since 2016, we have been supporting small businesses and help them promote and share their businesses, services, and events across the country. KeySpot is more than just an app. We are a network providing community. KeySpot, connecting communities and supporting small businesses.
And welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast Show with you guys, the one and only Coach Tony, and my guest tonight, Coach Bobby Jackson. Coach, let's jump into, something that a lot of people don't get the opportunity. You not only had an opportunity to go to Northwestern, but you're playing at a Power 5 school, and all that. Set that expectation, around being a college football player. As you say, you've experienced okay, what do I want to do? Basketball's not going to be it. I'm too big. I'm not going to be on the soccer field. And I'm going to hone in on what I can do. And that become a football player. Then all of a sudden, you don't get an opportunity to stay at home and go to Langston Hughes, because you probably could have done that, right? You get an opportunity to go to play at one of the highest levels. How was it? And when you received that scholarship offer and that letter, how did that make you feel? And then you say, hey, man, I'm off to Chicago.
Well, to be honest, especially, a lot of players, they won't say this, they're happy for everybody else, but for them, it's a lot of pressure, especially, back in the day for us, where our dreams were our community dreams and our family's dreams. So, you
make it, we all make it.
We all make it, right? So to carry that on your shoulders, it takes a lot of pride. I mean, you feel like, you've been doing it all this time. And so you feel like you can take it on, but it doesn't get real till you step on that campus. And then you're by yourself, and then your family and community is gone. You know what I'm saying? Then like, dude, this is real. This is different.
Right.
This is I signed a check that I hope my butt can cash. You get what I'm saying? You talking that noise like you think you can do it, but you finally get there. It's like, oh man, this is different.
And you back at the bottom again, because you now in college, you're the rookie again, or you're the freshman all over again. This ain't high school. You with big boys, and you playing with a couple guys that will is getting ready to go league. Because I remember Autry when he was in there as a running back. I remember I think it was the 89 or the 90 team upset Iowa, and we went out to Iowa one weekend to hang out. And they were just man. They were like, if y'all anybody from Illinois, we're gonna get at y'all. Like, man, we just chilling from Wisconsin. But that was a serious ball back in the day, man. And I think at that point, you guys still had that turf.
We had that hard turf on concrete. There was a thin piece of rug. Then once it got wet, it got even harder. You know what I'm saying? So it and that cold air coming off the lake.
Wet turf
turns into, everything is concrete and hard, so it like I said, it was a different experience, man, being up there, and I learned a lot and I regretted a lot. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's part of the mental health piece that really kind of pushed me towards that, because my career track was, I've been a strength conditioning coach working with athletes, man, ever since I got out of college. So, but my passion was making sure that my athletes were mentally strong and focused, because what stopped me from going to the next level is I had a mental collapse. So most people, they would think like, especially at home, because I wasn't one of those guys at the bottom. I was the one of the top recruits they've had in decades, the biggest recruit they ever had. I was number 2 at my position behind Jerome Bettis at fullback. So I was All-American. So I was up there. Me and him was actually vying back and forth for that Notre Dame gig. So it was very competitive. I had a lot of hype coming in, a lot of high expectations, that were put on me. But I needed, at that time, I had some personal things go on at home that I couldn't handle, that I kept to myself, that I didn't know how to express, and I started pressing in ways that wasn't healthy. You know what I'm saying? And that's where I try to teach players about mental health performance. Because this is the thing. But I had, and I'll fast forward a little bit after college, because I started a business. But doing it, trying to get my business off the ground, I had an opportunity to work at a mental health institution for 3 years. So I worked there with chemical dependence, ages from 5 to 75. So I ran units and all that stuff. So me getting into that world and understanding that world and being able to chart patients and behavior and forecasting things and being able to create a peaceful environment, that's something a skill that I learned. So what I'm saying is, when players come in, they have to have that type of environment and support system around them when they're drowning, especially coming from our community. Right.
And so you find yourself at school, one of the bigger recruits, playing in a good situation. This is at the time, for those that don't know, this is at the time that Northwestern was turned around, because
this was before. Yeah. This was right before.
It was coming,
It was coming. The next year they went to the Rose Bowl. Yeah,
right.
The next year
they were always the Vanderbilt of the SEC, so to speak, in the Big Ten.
Right. And they made a turn. They made a turn the next year. But a lot of kids, they come into college with a lot of stuff that they need to deal with. A lot, and especially, and it's, I'm just saying, from my community, that's from all communities now. You know what I'm saying? And I call them character issues. And most people think that character issues is negative. All the drinking, all the, bad attitude. It's not right. Character is anytime when you have a character issue, is anytime you're not at your best and your best self. Right. That's when you have a character flaw. And that's when people need to recognize that, right? If I'm not at my best self, then something is going on with me, and I need to get some attention. I need.
What's up, Coach Jackson?
Yeah. And most people who fall into mental health issues, sometimes it's the character flaws are alarm systems. You know what I'm saying? That something is going on mentally, right? So, but we want to judge those character flaws, and that's how it was for us back in the day. Like if we was kind of standoffish, or we was quiet, or they're not really into it, they're not really buying in, or they really don't want to be a part of this program. You see what I'm saying? But we didn't have those mental health services back then, so coaches will label you and just shove you off to the side.
Correct.
You get what I'm saying? But one conversation could change everything.
Yep.
Right?
And it's so funny.
With the right person could change everything. So that was my passion and motivation of being a mental health performance coach, because I knew I could see and identify when players and and any individual is not at their best self, and I speak life into that. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody desires in their heart to be their best self every day, right?
Right.
But it's the thing that's going on around them that makes them, shrink in that moment. So it's like somehow I can't overcome that. Yeah, and it's in here. But to have somebody, to say, hey man, I see the real you. I see you. I see where you are. I see where you're going. You see what I'm saying? And then giving them the opportunity to find their way back to it. That's all I needed. And in that whole time that I was struggling, not one person came to me and asked me, hey man, what's going on with you?
Wow.
You got too much talent to be here. Right? Not one coach, not one, what I'm saying? Not one player or anything just said, hey man, let's go talk.
Wow.
What's going on with you? Right.
Yeah.
So my story is I had problems at home, right? Going through family, my parents going through a divorce. I'm away. It's always been, I'm the only child, worried about my mother. You know what I'm saying? How she's doing. So I'm thinking about that, trying to press playing time. You see what I'm saying? Going back in the summertime where you're supposed to stay with the team and train. I'm going home to make sure that everything was straight. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But nobody stopping saying, hey, dude, if you just choose yourself first and just sacrifice for a little time, you'll be able to take care of all of that. That's all I need to hear, because that's the
crazy about that. The crazy part about it is, by the way, D Graham 1313 said Coach Jackson is the best in the business, man. Hello, how you doing? Also, Terrence Brooks popped out. He says, how does Coach Jackson feel about the NIL and the athletes getting there today? And that's funny that Brooks just mentioned that, because that was my next question. And we're talking
we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, we're talking about the NIL piece, and I'm glad how you laid that foundation, because I know exactly. I was going through the same situation. Mom and dad was splitting up. I'm away hooping, playing ball, trying to figure out this and that. And I'm in Chicago, and I'm out away from at school. And it's hard because at that time we were in school, Bobby, during the time that coaches actually had a career. In other words, coaches was at university for 10, 12, 15 years, some longer than that. Now, 3 to 5, that's it. But when you were looking at that, and you had the situation that was going on at home, and you were trying to find that safe space, even though you didn't really have the coaches or someone come to you, where did you find that safe spot or that place that allowed you to just focus a little bit without having a mental issue or a mental breakdown?
I didn't. And that's where, I didn't really go back to my university till 2012. That's how much I hated it. Because my experience there was so bad for me that I hated it. And I didn't blame anybody. You know what I'm saying? And, and a lot of people might have different, ideas about that, but I didn't blame anybody. I was frustrated because and so much promise I had before I went to college, straight A student, All-American, won our first state championship in our high school's history. You know what I'm saying? Started that run. They've won 18 since then. You know what I'm saying? Started a tradition. Yeah. So I had a lot of pride and promise. So if anybody was going to make it big, it was going to be me. You know what I'm saying? Had all the makings. So I left there an extremely broken man, because I said I let that school mentally beat me, right? Wow. I let my circumstances mentally beat me. It wasn't physically, physically I could match up against anybody, and they would tell you that. You know what I'm saying? Right. And even the people, the greats that we played against, they was my defense would say, "Oh, you better than him." You know what I'm saying? They would come out and say,
"Y'all already ready? Yeah, I already know that puts it together on
but
that." So.
I let my circumstances, you know what I'm saying, and and that goes your relationship with your coaches, your relationships with your teammates. You know,
Right.
I let my circumstances beat me mentally. And I try to really share with players that you have to start as if you want to be an elite athlete, especially in this day and time. And I will address the guy with the NIL because it's more. What I'm about to say is more serious now than it's ever been.
Well, we're gonna take a break before you address the NIL, and we're gonna come back and do that on the other side.
Okay, ever been. But you have to start training your mental health performance just as hard and strong as your athletic training early. Because that's how we do now. We get our kids now. It's like, oh, who's the best trainer? Who's the best trainer? It's like, yeah, that's fine. But who is training their mental health performance? Right?
Exactly.
And let me define what mental health performance is. That's the ability to process personal and professional adversities without sacrificing performing at a high level.
Oh, I hope y'all caught some of that. I hope y'all
caught. Repeat that. This is what mental health performance is. It's the ability to process personal and professional adversities without sacrificing performing at a high level.
Oh, I like that. Coach, we're going to take a quick break. We run into halftime. When we come back, we're going to
jump into what's going on now.
We're going to jump into the business of transformation. We're going to jump into this NIL. On the other side, it's halftime, and Coach know what happened at halftime. We got to go ahead and dig these players out. Val, pay some more bills. We'll be right back to the Pull Up Podcast Show.
All right, thank you.
I've always thought about how my mom has supported me in any creative endeavor. How beautiful was it for your mom to be the superhero in your life and show up in your creative ventures with this book?
People ask her to sign the book more than they ask me to sign the book. Sometimes I step to the side, I take their picture. And, we have to celebrate our mothers. We got to celebrate our beginning. So she comes out with me. Every event, she is there. Even when I tell her she does not need to come, she will show up in the parking lot. And I'm like, oh, okay, you coming? Okay. I'm like, all right.
Right. And she got a bottle of wine in her hand.
What in the world? Why are you giving her alcohol?
No, I'm just saying. She showed up in the parking lot. She got a bottle of wine, nice wine. She's going to set it down. She ready for the show, Val. You know what I'm saying? Because the funny part about it is, CJ, I've actually talked to Val. I thought about, writing a book myself because my man's in there.
But, I love it.
And look at Val.
My man's in them.
My man's in there. But you got to read the book. You got to read the book. But it's a play. CJ, I apologize because Val should have dropped some old Dub C so you could have came out crip walking. You know what I'm saying?
I'm not flamed up right now. I got to hold on. Trying to get me shot.
Going back to school tomorrow, like, I saw you, Miss Charles. I saw you.
I mean, I can crip walk, so please, but I'm kind of, I'm authoring right now. You guys are funny.
Man, we're coming out of this halftime break. Welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast Show with your one and only, your guy, the one and only Coach Tony, and my guy, Coach Bobby Jackson. We're going to check in with a couple of people here. We got Terrence Brooks already in the house, asked a couple of questions. My guy, Terrell Washington, got a question for you as well on here. And Sarah Marie, Sarah's checking in. Thank you very much. So we're going to jump in, and I'm gonna throw a couple of questions at you too, Coach, so if you could answer a couple. I got about 4 or 5 questions here. So if you can answer them, I'm going to get a few questions in for you. But as we talk about this NIL and pay for play, for one, I wish me and you had it back in the day. So it'd have been a whole other ball game. But I've been talking about this the last several months, the changes. I keep telling everybody again, you better take your camera and take a picture of what the old Power 5 looks like. Because after next year or two, it's going to be down to the Power 3, SEC, Big 10, and I'm thinking it's going to be the Big 12. Everyone else will be gone, smothered away. The Pentagon will be the big fight for Notre Dame, the only independent school, and we'll see how that's going to happen. But you're looking at a situation right now, Coach, where you got football players, the Pavia kid, upset Alabama from Vandy, got on, he was talking. He's, I already got my degree. I ain't even come here to go to school. I just came to play football with some paper. The quarterback out of UNLV, he went 3-0, lost the game, and said, hey, they promised me $100,000. I ain't get my money, so he walked out. Then you got several other kids that are mad. They making $80,000, $90,000, $100,000. Some making $200,000, $300,000. Quarterback at Alabama, before he hit the field right after Milroy, he's already set to make like $3 or $4 million. And then you got a few other kids. So when you're looking at the way the NCAA has stacked this money up against these kids and the mental mindset, how do they balance, or how are they going to be in position to balance the money over here, my mental mindset here? Oh, by the way, I still got to be a student athlete. Well,
one thing you got to know, because everybody's excited about getting the money, they're excited about this expansion, but that stuff you can't control. You need to make the main thing the main thing, and you're never going to beat the NCAA. You think you're going to lose for just because you think you got a little power because you're getting some money. Trust me, they putting their ducks in a row to make sure that they always have the control and interest on what they want to do with that organization. So you're not going to outsmart, right? So and that goes to the rule they made 2 days ago, where they're going to get away with letter of intent.
Yeah,
so
that's
what
crazy.
What that means is you're going to, when school asks you to come, you're going to be sitting down in contract negotiations.
Yeah, because
so
I don't have to commit no more.
Your representation is going to come, and then their representation is going to come. Then Correct. You're going to make a deal, right? Yep. So, but do you know what that really means? That means you're no longer a kid that's leaving home for the first time. You are a grown person. You're going to be seen as a grown person. You see what I'm saying? Yep. You got, so that means day one, you have to come in as a professional. Let's think about that now. This is 18-year-old kids, right? Yeah. So for us, because you can't think about this. So when we came in as a freshman, we had a couple of years to mature.
Correct, because seniors graduate.
Right. So they would say, oh yeah, he'll be ready by the end of his sophomore year, junior year. Because they kids, you still maturing, trying to learn yourself, trying to find yourself, not just grow athletically, but just grow as an individual.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not anymore. Day one, you have to come ready. There's no room for you to grow. They're making no space for that. Right. So the parents are happy. The community is happy you getting this money. But if you talk about the stress and pressure for a kid, it's like one day I'm still a kid living in so now I'm in a whole different city, whole different community. And now I'm treated now to be an adult.
Yep.
This is the more stress. Yes. You make more money than your coaches.
You're making more. Some of these kids are making more money than their parents, Bobby. It's like Sarah Marie says. She says, and on this NIL stuff, the youth level right now, there are some states at the youth level. Tennessee is one of them. Illinois is one of them that's already passed the NIL at the high school level. So she said it's happening all the time, too much for the parents. And when you're looking at that, it's hard for them to wrap their minds around that. How do you balance being a parent with a talented, athletic kid in high school getting ready to step in that world? How do you balance that?
Well, you have to balance that because you just like when you see the successful child stars, you've seen just successful because they had grounded parents, right? And they still allowed them to be children. They still allowed them to be kids, right? Because the deal is they understand this. If you're making that money, you're not only getting any sympathy from your coaches because you're making more than them. You're not even getting sympathy from you're not getting sympathy for your community.
Right.
So you was that player that was doing good, doing great, and then you had a bad game, and then people came to you and be like, "Oh man, that's okay, man. You'll get them next time." But now you that kid that's walking around in high school making $70,000, $100,000. They like, dude, you getting paid. Ain't no sympathy company. So what about what is that mental stress?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So even a kid in college, just like the quarterback at Auburn was saying, that he was getting calls and death threats from kids that was betting on him.
Yeah, I saw that. I mean, and you got to think about it too, Bobby. FanDuel and MGM took it a whole nother, like your boy D. Graham. He said, let's keep it real. College athletics is a business, plain and simple.
Yeah.
There's no different from working at a company for a company.
Right.
And just like your employer, it may not care if you're doing good, if it's personal issue, they don't care. They just want to understand, I need my business done today. And that is where we're at with this.
What did Mike Gundy say when his boy was caught speeding through there? He's like, I don't care. His punishment is going to be, I'm going to give him the ball 50 times. Right. I got to think about what's best for my. But you see how that switched? Before, when you went to school, that coach came and says, hey, I'm going to be a father to your kid. I'm going to help mentor and grow them up. Right? But now it's going to switch to a business relationship. So this is what I'm trying to say as far as the mental health before. What 18-year-old is ready for that?
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
What parent is ready for that unless they start preparing early?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You need to start preparing. My advice to young athletes, because you'll know if you really, your freshman year, you be like, this is what I want to do, right? Because it's a skill down to that. Like if I got a chance.
5 a.m. practice, 6 a.m. practice, you're going to know if you want to do it.
Basketball is even earlier than that, 7th, 8th grade. You really know if you got a chance. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Football, you're in 9th grade. Okay, this is what I want to do. You need to start preparing to be a professional in the 9th grade. So that means any character flaws that you have, your attitude, you got some issues, because we got a lot of single moms out there got kids.
Yep.
You got issues with your father where you can't take instruction. You see what I'm saying? You can't take a hard talking to. You have problem trusting men. You see what I'm saying? Leading you in a path. You got issues with girls. You know what I'm saying? You got substance abuse problems. You late, you lazy. All of those things need to be worked out then.
And don't forget to add one more thing on that, Bobby. Add one more thing. When you get to that college level, depending on what you are, these professors don't care, because they already figured that you're making more money than them, and you're already missing classes. Yeah. So they are edging to fail you, to show
this is how tough this area is, though, because the new contracts is coming out. Before it was understood that I know it's a 1 year, but if I do what I'm supposed to do, I'm gonna get 4. You know what I'm saying? It causes no problems. I'm gonna get 4 because it's bad recruiting. They might run you out of there. Nowadays they try to run you out of there, but before, you was there for 4 years. Now this new deal, it's only 1 year.
Yes, 1.
No, there's no 2. This
and
is
high schools
only
getting killed because of the portal. So these high schools are getting killed because of that 1 year deal. And these coaches say, I don't want these high school kids because I go to the portal and get somebody grown.
So as a parent, think about this. So as a parent, if the kid is not educationally sound, and this is part of being a professional, right? You got to learn how to be an advocate for yourself academically. You can't be waiting for somebody to tell you, hey man, you doing bad. You need to go to this so and so too. Nobody need to be dragging you academically through high school. Why? Because you're on a 1 year deal now. So that means you might be going to 2 or 3 different schools. Guess who's responsible with keeping up with your credits?
You are.
So if you in high school and somebody been babying you, You see what I'm saying? All this time, and all of a sudden, you got to keep up with your high school. You got to keep up whatever you're trying to study, whatever degree you're trying to keep up with. Because once that contract is up, your relationship and all your resources from that school is over.
It's over. Gone.
So you have to learn how to be a professional. You need to start that track as a freshman in high school. You need to start. That's what I'm trying to teach these coaches to pay attention to. I need to be coming into your program, right, and teaching your players the importance of becoming a professional. What does a professional mean if you want to play at that next level? Because the deal is, if that's assistant coach, because the time is so short now, it used to be a coach got 4 years before they reviewed him and fire. Assistant coach
now
2 to 3.
In the middle of a contract.
Assistant coach got half a year.
Yep.
Head coach got 2 years, so they're not playing. So if you're not my type of guy, not that you ain't even doing what you're supposed to do, you just might not be my type of guy.
Y'all hear that, don't you? You hear what he just said. You don't have to do anything but not be my type of guy. And I've seen that, Bobby, a couple of times where I just experienced that with one of the players I had placed a year ago. The coach left, and the kids and the assistant coach would step to the interim, and he told 3 or 4 guys, "You didn't come in under my watch. So at the end of this year, you're going to have to probably look for a new place to go."
You see what I'm saying? That means you have to keep up with your college, with everything, your coursework. You get what I'm saying? So even in that experience, you want to make sure, even you want to be such a professional. Because this is the thing is, these kids and parents that come in with so many egos, like they did my baby wrong. They do it. Dude, you're a professional now. You're an employee. You want to do such a great job there. Do you say, "Hey, coach, if I'm not your type of guy, can you send me somewhere where I am?" And they be like, "Dude, you've been a good player for me. You see what I'm saying? Been a good attitude, so I'll make a call for you." Right? Mm-hmm. But if you got maturity issues, character issues, you think they're going to make that call?
They're not going to do it, Bobby. And the other thing is this. Now, because of the NIL piece that is in high school, and is going to basically these companies, right? Because you and I know there's 2 different areas. There's people conflict or confuse the NIL process, because there's only 98% of people that's really using that. That 2% are really getting the millions that you hear about on ESPN. But where it's going to is pay for play. That's completely different. Where these companies are coming in, and when you sign that contract, you are going to be playing for me, but I won't be paying you for a certain service. Now, the hard part about that is, as you just mentioned, the coach, the university, all get caught in the middle, because now this kid is coming through the door from high school with a certain expectation and money, and he's expecting that to follow him or her, and then all of a sudden they get to the university, and either one, the coach that they came to play for, get fired. He's no longer there, and the whole world gets turned up. And then the NCAA didn't help it out. Besides dropping the NIL, the NLI, they also said we got an unlimited transfer. So if I don't like Coach Bobby on Thursday, Friday morning, I can literally walk in, transfer, and go to another university. It's about to be a rat race.
Well, once they start, but the deal is they're gonna start putting these kids on contracts. So you're going to be on a legal binding contract. So because like I said, you're not going to outmuscle the NCAA in these big programs.
No,
right? You're not going to outmuscle. You're not going to be. And this is the wild west now. Is they feel like a lot of these players have too much control and power, and it's messing up.
That's because NCAA is restructuring stuff. That's why it's Wild West.
But when it went down the other 2 days ago, they let you know the structure is getting in place.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? So once this kid comes in, we negotiate. We negotiate performance. We negotiate behavior. We negotiate community involvement. Right. This is all the stuff you have to do. Now you're an 18-year-old now, right? It ain't no crying now. You're a full-time employee, right?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. As parents, it's like you're going to have to talk to your kid like, hey, you're going to school to be an employee before you're a student athlete.
That's crazy, Bobby. That is absolutely insane.
What is that? This is an 18-year. So an 18-year-old free agent is different from a 22, 23-year-old free agent going to the pro. That's a different maturity level. You think about how much you grew as a freshman to you as a senior.
Right. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
And when you become a professional, you still got 2 to 3 years of growth there when you become a professional and all that. So it's crazy there. We're going to take our last break of the day. We here, man. We got some interesting stuff.
We got to get back in it, man. This is serious.
On the other side, we're going to jump into a day of transformations because I want Coach Jackson to talk a little bit about that on the Pull Up Podcast show. Val, let's pay our last bill of the night. We'll be right back.
Are you a small business owner looking to grow? Introducing the Key Spot mobile app. I'm Cynthia McAllister, owner of the IT company Quality SAP. Since 2016, we have been supporting small businesses and help them promote and share their businesses, services, and events across the country. Key Spot is more than just an app. We are a network providing community. Key Spot, connecting communities and supporting small businesses.
Man, I ain't trying to lose here. Welcome to the fourth quarter of the Pull Up Podcast show. I see my guy, Coach Justin Allen, checking in. What's up, baby? It's one of my coaches there. Say, what's up, Coach Bobby? We're going to jump in this fourth quarter with a great question from Terrence Brooks, and it's going to lead us into what Coach is going to talk to us about a little bit about a day of transformation. And Coach Terrence Brooks says, how are colleges and universities handling these student athletes that you just talked about with these mental health issues in terms of when they lose a game or a field goal kicker misses a field goal like it happened last week and Bama ended up getting beat by Vandy, and then all of a sudden these other kids you mentioned a moment ago got death threats because of so forth and so on. And then they also got to balance in the media, because here's the media. The media is going to jump on them also. So he wants to know, how brutal is that? And when you're talking about, your message of a day of transformation, how can that, or have you talked to the NCAA or people at the next level to try to take your sports mental performance there to kind of help out in any way?
Well, this is the issue, right? Like I said, I've been in the mental health game for a long time, right? And now, sadly, it's a lot of it's a word that everybody's making a lot of money and hype off of. Mental health is the catchy thing that's going on. Everybody is all, oh man, so-and-so got mental. We really need to stop back and take a pause and so-and-so and all that stuff. And to be honest, it's a bunch of hogwash, right?
I always say mental health.
I
always say, is it mental health or mental illness, or is it foolishness? That's the difference, like you were saying.
Well, what I'm trying to explain is mental. Mental health is a serious deal, right? It's no different from when you have an injury. I'm gonna ask you this right here. I'm gonna tell you the importance of it. I'll give you an example, Coach. You got a player that comes to you and he said, hey man, I done got injured. Right, I've hurt myself or so and so. You put him in a game plan to play Friday. He come to you Monday. You find out he got injured. What are you thinking? Like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Can I put him in a game or not? Is that what you put in your mind?
Exactly.
But then he comes and tells you. But then his trainers come and tell you, he's like, hey, this is the program we got him on for rehabilitation. This is so and so going on. We think we could have him back, around, and we can get it done. Right. So so as a coach, you like, oh shoot, he got a plan. I feel comfortable. You know what I'm saying? That he'll be able to get in this program. Right.
Right.
So this is where the mental health. This is how the mental health track has gone so far. This is where it stops, and this is what's driving coaches crazy. You done worked hard and got your player in the game plan. It's like, dude, we got a big game this Saturday, playing against Team of the Nation. You putting him in, making plays. This is what he's an important part. He comes to like, hey, coach, man, I'm really going through some mental health struggles right now. Wow. I'm really, really down. I'm really, like, man, I don't know what's going on, but I'm really struggling right now. What is your thought process? as a coach? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking.
Are you going to hold it against him? Are you going to hold it against him? Are you going to let him play?
Exactly, because you're in a tough situation as a coach. Because you're saying, "I got this big game right here, son. We can deal with this." You know, those coaches that are about winning first, they're gonna say is, "Oh, we'll deal with this when this game is over. But let's get prepared for this game. Then we'll work on that."
Yeah. But you said that, hey, he might not be mentally ready.
Right.
So are you going to hold it against him? Now think about it. You know, as a coach, you might have you let that word get out, because it has happened to coach down there at Ole Miss, Kiffin.
Yep.
Kid had mental health struggles and he had to take some time off. And he was like, "You don't take, there's a big blow up lawsuit is going on right now as we speak."
Correct. Yep.
Right. So as a coach, you putting in odds is like, dude, I need him. He's important to this team. Everybody's counting on him, but he's going through an issue. You see what that rub is? Yep. So for the player is this is where I try to educate the player. It's like, look, just because you got something going on doesn't mean the world stops.
Mm-hmm.
You still got responsibility.
That's real talk.
You still got a heavy, right? So a lot you hear a lot of these, the ones who made it, athletes have taken a break, and that's fine. It's okay not to be okay, but that's not really true because everybody's counting on you. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not okay mentally, my family is like, "Hey man, you see what I'm saying? I know you're okay, but are you still gonna be able to come through?" So what if that player with that same mental health issue came to you, coach, and says, "Hey man, hey coach, I'm going through something, but you ain't got to worry about it. I got a team. I got my mental health team around me that's going to make sure I'm straight and I'll be ready for Saturday." And what will you be thinking?
I'm looking at that kid like, man, I need 10 of these kids, because it tells me that kid is mentally strong, and no matter what we throw at him, he's going to be able to handle that. He's compartmentalized his mental situation that's going on over there, and he's able to focus in on what we got to get done today.
But just like the guy who got physically injured, who had a team around him to get him together, that player had a team of his mental performance team around him to get him together. It's the same thing.
I like that.
You get what I'm saying? So what I try to educate
you present that to the NCAA. That I would love to see the NCAA say you need to hire a mental illness coach, kind of like Bobby. What's going on with the police department, right? They try to change the police department and send a
but it's the key. Yeah, but it's the key. But this is the thing, though. It's not on the mental health professionals to help the player.
Right.
The player has to have the same desire to go get his own mental health team. He's going to put the effort in.
Yeah.
So my education is, no, you don't run to them and be in crowd on their back and tell them, "Hey, you need to go take a break. No. What is your responsibility for you to get yourself out of that hole?
That's it.
You get what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So I don't play with it, because mental health ain't nothing to play with. So why would I send you away to take a break and you don't have the team and support around you to get you back? That ain't going to help you.
Yeah.
Even if I see you, you're not even going to be open to them until you yourself say, "If I'm not at my best self, I need to run to my team to get myself right." You got to be your own self-advocate for your own mental wellness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when that coach sees you, right? So when that coach sees that, "Hey man, this cat dude, he has his own team. He takes it upon himself to get himself mentally right. He got his dude. You want that player on there,
right?
Right. You feel comfortable. You feel good to put him back in the game. You don't feel compromised, right? So that's the next step of this mental health performance game and mental health level of growth that we need to get to. Because right now the schools are doing nothing. They have some services out there, But to be honest, it ain't nothing but for liability reasons. We saw
Right, liability. You already know that. So
we got it charted. Yeah, we got it charted that he went to so and so services. So we're not liable no more if he, you see what I'm saying, does whatever. Right? But I'm trying to empower the athlete to be his own self-advocate, to say how I am feeling is not okay. And I can create a team around me to get back on track. Right.
Oh, man, I love that.
That's the type of level these players gonna have to go into in this new era of, like, going back to that question, is because now, since you're on that 1-year contract, them coaches don't care about your mental wellness. Right. Are you gonna perform or not?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And if you ain't got it together, if you drag it along, we're gonna be like, hey, son, you know what they're gonna tell you? They're gonna tell you the PC way. You know what? There's more to life than football. It's best for you to go get healthy and send you on your way. All of a sudden, all your dreams, all the years you done worked hard, all the stuff you done worked for, all the stuff is gone.
Yep. And that's a nice way of saying that we're gonna decide to go in a different direction.
Yeah, the direction. They're not going to put any money into those services anymore. Because they don't have, because you get a year.
Yep.
Right? They have somewhere, just like the NFL, they have somewhere where you can go. But they be like, well, dude, if you haven't cut it, we'll cut him and get somebody else next year. So it's going to turn into the NFL where it's a transactional relationship. So that intimacy that you used to get from your coach, that used to mentor you and grow you and be like, man, he was a father to me. Them days is over.
That's over. And Bobby, that's why I keep telling these kids, I'm talking to them now.
Yeah. Parents, you're going to be.
My bad. Go ahead, Coach. I'm sorry.
So parents, you're going to be dropping off your kids for them to make it on their own.
Yes.
That's the relationship. That's it. So if you don't start preparing in a 9th grade on if I want my kid to go play at that next level, the support system has to be built there. Right? And conversations need to be had at every step and every stage for them to be successful. Whatever adversity they go through, hey, they need to be calling back their support system so they can mentally assess it the right way. Don't get in your feelings. Don't get emotional.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because you know why? Because if you look at the Manning family, they had that.
Yes. And this is why little bitty Manning is playing so well. Even though he got hurt. He's still right in.
We don't have that because we celebrate once we sign the letter of intent, we think we made it.
Yeah. Exactly right. And I'm gonna tell you something about, and this is funny. I don't put no names out there. This happened in a situation I was in happened to be at one of our games last year, and a kid went down and got hurt. And as the kid got hurt, we had to get the paramedics there and everything. Lucky was okay. And dad comes over to me, talks to me a little bit, and dad makes this comment to another person. And I'm overhearing it. It says, the kid does the same thing sometime on the football field. He's just weak. He this and that. And the kid's, damn near about to die. So the mom is looking at me, and I'm sitting there and I'm telling the people, because I'm overwatching the facility, like, this kid's not going back in this game. Not while I'm in this gym. And I said, mentally, you probably killed the kid. And the mother's telling me later on at the game how the dad has put so much pressure. And this kid's not even hit high school yet, Bobby. How dad put so much pressure on this kid that the kid is mentally breaking down. But he talks to his mother about it and won't speak to the dad because he's afraid of what the dad's going to say. So this kid, I told the mom, if you don't address it, this kid's got 24 months. She said, what do you mean? I said, because he's in 8th grade right now. By the time he hits the end of his sophomore year, he'll be done. He won't want to do it no more.
He'll be done. It'd be over for him. And that's, again, the parents need to be coached. The coaches need to be coached, right? To understand and look at these signs and become better mentors and understand. Look, this is the thing. When you ever, this is the thing that irritates me about mental health. I tell you, I got a lot of tangents. But you ever hear when somebody say, hey, so-and-so is dealing with their mental health? you see their voice get real quiet, like they sick or something. Oh man, so and so dealing with that.
Like they the uncle in the like they the uncle in the back.
Like they about to go jump off a tree or something. Oh, they dealing with their mental health and so and so, and what we should do, stuff like that. And everybody get quiet. So you already labeling who they are. They weak. You see what I'm saying? They not mentally strong, especially if you're an athlete. You get what I'm saying? They can't handle adversity, so and so. But really, when you go deal with your mental health, that means, look, if every time I'm trying to reach for my best self, that means I'm trying to empower. I'm reaching for. So if I'm going to work on my mental health and I got the right team around me, that means I'm getting stronger. I'm getting more powerful. Right. So when somebody tells you, when a player tells you now, especially through my program, and they go tell a coach, hey, I'm working for mental health, that coach knows how to do. They're going to come back better than ever.
Yeah, because he's balanced now. That's like my guy.
You see what I'm saying? He's recognizing that, hey, dude, right here where I am right now is not good for me. It's not good for my team. It's not good for so-and-so. And I don't have to feel bad about it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I got myself a way out. But what we have not done, because we don't talk about, man, we put it in a box of weakness that kids look at and be afraid of and don't want to address it. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? But that's the knock on your heart to be like, hey, dude, it's time for us to grow and step it up a lot.
Oh man, that's it. Eric says, my guy Eric Harrison said, man, Coach Bobby, man, great conversation. Sometimes as a father figure, we fail our kids in sports because we put too much pressure on those kids at those certain levels and don't know how, as you just said a moment ago, don't know how to pump them up. And I tell you what I used to do, and this is when you and I were coming through physically. My son was coming through playing ball. And I know you and I used to talk all the time and this and that. And I remember we used to talk about, the time frame of doing this and time frame of doing that. And I remember little tidbits of this and that you always threw at us. And I remember when my son finally hit high school, Bobby, I used to tell him, when the game is over, we're going to talk 15 minutes. 15. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk 15 minutes about what's going on. And then after that, we're done. I don't care if you had to drop 50 tonight or you gave up the last winning shot and played terrible defense. I'm not going to beat you down. And do you know, man, it worked out so wonderful. I had people say, man, how is your son so balanced out here? I said, because for one, I pump him up and I told him we're going to talk 15 minutes. And after that, I want to know how your day was. How was your grade? How was class? I don't want to kick him to the point where he's like, man, I'm getting beat down so bad by my dad. Something, I'm already getting screamed at by my coach, something, forget it. And I made sure I didn't do that.
One thing, parents, I give a quick tidbit. One thing parents, do, I think this would be a big help for them, especially if a kid come from a tough game. And that one thing parents do way too much is they talk too much. Right? Tell them what they did, what they didn't do.
Sideline coach.
Yeah. This is what you did. This is what went wrong. So and so. So when they get in the car, they doing all the talking, right? Yep. And and when they doing all the talking, you know what they're not doing? They're not doing any empowering. And how you empower the kid is say, hey, how do you assess the game?
Right.
What do you think would happen? Right?
Yep.
How do you what do you think you could do to get better?
Mm-hmm.
What are your plans to do that? Mm-hmm. Right? So they think and they calculate and they becoming more of, I can do that. What adjustments need to be made? So what happens when you get to high school, this is what I tell parents, not coach parents up. When you get to high school with your kid, you are partnering up with them.
That makes sense.
You're partnering up with them for their next 4 years of them building their success track. Mm-hmm. Right? So I'm part. So what are we gonna do? So how are we gonna do that? So do you don't mind if I hold you accountable to what you said you're gonna do? Sure, man. Right? We're bet. Hey, I have full confidence that you're gonna execute your plan. Right? So all the all the ball is in your court. Right. So when things don't happen, right, it's nobody's fault but yours. Because this is the deal. Parents get upset and get hyped and angry because they want that journey to be theirs, but it's not yours. It's your kids.
Right. Hey, say that again, man. I just said it 50 times, Bobby. I mean, I said once. Yes.
No, that journey doesn't belong to you, because that's God's purpose for that kid's life, not yours. You've ran your circle. All you are is a steward of that, right?
Correct.
So you're a steward of whatever God has put in him, his ideas, his thoughts, his problem solving. You know what I'm saying? You just guide them through it and empowering them that yeah, I can do it. I can make a choice. My dad has confidence that I can figure it out. Boy, that right there, man, that son will run crazy.
Yeah, that is. I'm telling you, I tell you what, we're gonna take one last break here. And I know I mentioned it long ago, but we have a great conversation, and we're gonna wrap it up with Coach on the backside of this. Val, pay one more bill, and we're gonna come back in. I'm asking one more question, and we're gonna wrap up the show tonight on the Pull Up Podcast.
All right,
show.
Hey, it's your main man, right back at you, coming live here from the Rise Studio, and it's your guy talking about what? Pull Up Podcast Show. What is the Pull Up Podcast Show? It's a brand new podcast hitting your airways nationwide, talking everything on sports, from baseball, basketball, hockey, and then I tell you, we're gonna have a lot of fun. So make sure if you want your questions answered, you want to have fun talking a lot of sports, make sure you pull up on me, because it's the Pull Up Podcast Show.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up.
Also, for those that want to learn a little bit more about this right here, oh yeah, that right there, that's the Rise, NIL, talking name, image, and likeness. Those having opportunities, getting paid, you want to tune in to it.
The sports show, let's go. It's the Pull Up Podcast. So it's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up. Let's go.
Man, welcome back to the Pull Up Podcast Show with your boy, the one and only Coach Tony. Coach, we got one last question. If you can make it quick so we can get this in, and we're going to get out of here, man, because this has been great. I want you to be able to tell the people, for those parents that are listening, other athletes, and we got athletes on the line listening tonight as well, tell the people if they want to get in touch with you and find out about some more information, just how you help transform these sports athletes over, and even some of these coaches and other people in their life journey as well. Tell a little bit of people, man, how can they get in touch with you and and so forth and so on.
They can reach out to me, I guess on my Instagram at BJ42, CoachBobbyJackson.com is a website. I got a form there they can fill out and talk about that. And I really want to reach out to a lot of coaches and programs to really get me in there, man, and really get these kids thinking about preparing themselves for that next level holistically, not just athletically,
right.
And really learning that if they really want to make it, the importance of becoming a professional, you know what I'm saying? And what does that mean? And really breaking it down, just the way they carry themselves, how they can, making moves, you know what I'm saying? Learning how to work in the community, learning how to advocate for themselves, building their support team around them now and learning how to use those things, right? Because those things, if they don't have that thing set up once they get there, there's nothing there waiting for them to help it get it done. Because remember, you year to year.
Man, I love it. Absolutely.
And because I lived it, to be a great athlete that got mentally beat, I don't want to see that for anybody.
That's right.
Because all it takes is one conversation.
Especially as our kids on this side of the house. Well, man, Coach, I appreciate you stopping by the studios tonight, man, and putting this information out there for, again, if you guys want to reach out to CoachBobbyJackson.com, talk to him, and then reach out to him on his Instagram. You've been talking to the one and only Coach Tony. And right here, we always tell you a little bit about the Rise. The Rise NIL is an opportunity, the way we just simply connect brands and the athletes together while you transform your way through the NIL space. So make sure you reach out to me at www.therisenil.com. And also tomorrow night, Tuesday night, as we jump into some things here, we're going to be with my co-host, Val the Voice, and she talk about how DJ saved her life. And she goes through the trials and tribulations of how actually being a DJ and moving into the podcast world actually transformed and saved her life. And for those that love the entertainment and the music side of the business, please make sure you come back in tomorrow night on Tuesday as we jump off with Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesday. And we're going to be celebrating our Latino heritage tomorrow. So make sure you get in, and we're going to talk a little bit about Sheila E. and everyone else. So again, I appreciate you very much. Thank you for checking us out tonight on the Pull Up Podcast Show. But you know my words. Peace.
It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. Pull up, pull up. Bounce the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. So, I said bounce the voice and Coach Tony, you know. It's the Pull Up Podcast. So, it's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the Pull Up Podcast. It's the